Welcome, rare gems. What makes a woman vanish from your life without leaving a note, without giving you an explanation, and without even looking back? For many, it feels like an unsolved mystery. But for a Sigma female, disappearing without a word is not a game or a tactic. It is a decision born out of self-respect and clarity. Sigma females live by a different standard. They value peace more than noise, truth more than excuses, and growth more than familiarity. When they leave quietly, it is not because they are cold or heartless. It is because they have reached a point where words no longer serve a purpose. They have already read the story, understood the ending, and decided not to linger in a chapter that no longer deserves them. This silence can feel brutal to those left behind, but it holds a powerful lesson. A Sigma female's disappearance is proof that strength is not always loud. Sometimes strength is the ability to walk away without seeking permission, without demanding apologies, and without needing to explain. If you are a Sigma female, know this. Your silence is not weakness, and your absence is not emptiness. It is a declaration that your energy is sacred and that not everyone deserves access to it. Hold on to that power, protect it fiercely, and never doubt that choosing yourself will always be the most courageous act of all. Let's dive into it, the rare gems. Number 1. They refuse to argue with actions louder than words. There is a certain kind of strength in silence that many people underestimate. A Sigma female does not waste her breath trying to convince anyone of what is already clear. She studies patterns, not promises, and once she has seen enough, she no longer feels the need to argue. For her, the actions of others speak far louder than any words they could ever say. That is why when she chooses to disappear, it is not an impulsive move. It is her final answer. Think about how often people get trapped in endless conversations that go nowhere. Someone apologizes, but keeps repeating the same mistake. Someone swears they care, yet their behavior proves the opposite. Many people stay stuck, trying to squeeze truth out of words that mean nothing. A Sigma female will not play that game. She refuses to argue with someone's actions because she knows actions always reveal the truth. For example, if a friend constantly cancels plans but insists they value the relationship, she will not argue. She will step back, knowing the repeated cancellations already hold the answer. If a partner says they love her but fails to show respect or consistency, she will not waste time debating love. She will quietly remove herself from the situation because she believes what people do is who they are. Her silence is not passive, it is decisive. It is her way of saying she has heard enough, seen enough, and reached her conclusion. Explaining herself would only give more power to the very actions that pushed her away. So instead, she lets her absence do the talking. This is what makes her presence so valuable. When she stays, it is because actions have matched words. When she leaves, it is because the truth was already spoken without sound. For her, silence is not retreat. It is closure. It is the clearest statement she can ever make. Number 2. They believe in conserving their energy. Energy is one of the most valuable things we have, yet many people spend it carelessly. They waste hours trying to convince someone who has already made up their mind, or they pour themselves into situations that give nothing in return. A Sigma female looks at it differently. She treats her energy like currency, and she is careful about where it goes. That is why instead of arguing endlessly or trying to prove her worth, she chooses to walk away in silence. Imagine trying to fill a bucket with a hole at the bottom. No matter how much water you pour in, it keeps leaking out. This is what it feels like to argue with someone who is not listening, or to stay in a situation where your efforts are ignored. A Sigma female will not keep pouring. She knows her energy is better spent on people and places that allow growth instead of draining her dry. This is why her disappearances confuse so many. They expect her to fight, to shout, or to explain, but she does none of that. She simply steps back because she values her peace more than winning an argument. To her, the real victory is not proving a point, but refusing to let her spirit be dragged into endless conflict. Think about the times you have been pulled into debates that left you exhausted, or when you kept trying to fix a relationship that clearly had no balance. Now picture the power of stepping away quietly without bitterness and choosing to save that energy for your goals, your passions, or the people who truly respect you. That is exactly how a Sigma female operates. Her silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is her way of reminding herself that her energy is too precious to waste on noise. Instead, she invests it in building the life she wants, and that is why she always leaves stronger than she arrived. Number 3. They see patterns, not promises. Promises sound sweet, but they mean very little without action. A Sigma female knows this better than anyone. She does not get swept away by pretty words or emotional speeches. Instead, she watches closely and pays attention to patterns. To her, consistency tells the truth far more than any promise ever could. Think about someone who keeps saying they will change, but weeks later you find yourself dealing with the same old behavior. At first, you may want to believe them. You give another chance, then another, hoping the words will eventually match reality. But a Sigma female is different. She notices the loop and does not wait for it to spin again. Once she identifies a cycle of neglect, dishonesty, or disrespect, she makes her move. She leaves before the repetition traps her. For example, if a friend always apologizes after letting her down but continues to disappoint, she will not cling to the apology. She will see the apology as part of the pattern itself. If a partner breaks trust and promises it will never happen again, she will not just listen to the words. She will step back and ask herself if their actions are rewriting the story or replaying the same scene. This is why people often call her cold when she disappears. But what they fail to understand is that she has already given enough chances. She has studied the evidence and made her decision. In her world, patterns are reality and promises are distractions. By walking away, she protects herself from being swallowed by cycles that only lead to disappointment. She does not wait for the next betrayal or the next excuse. She exits early with her self-respect intact because she knows that real change does not repeat itself. This ability to see through patterns instead of clinging to promises is what makes her so unshakable. It keeps her from being fooled, and it saves her from wasting years in situations that never truly evolve. Number 4. They don't give second chances to disrespect. For a Sigma female, respect is not something to be bargained over. It is the foundation of every connection she allows into her life. Once that foundation cracks, she does not try to patch it up with excuses or hopes that things will get better. She sees disrespect as a line that should never have been crossed, and once it is, she does not grant a second chance. Many people tolerate small acts of disrespect, convincing themselves that it is not a big deal. They brush it off when someone speaks to them harshly, ignores their feelings, or belittles them in subtle ways. They hope the person will improve with time, or they make excuses like, maybe they were just stressed. A Sigma female does not play that game. To her, disrespect is not a mistake. It is a choice, and it reveals the truth about how someone really views her. For example, if a partner constantly interrupts her or dismisses her opinions, she does not argue to prove her worth. She notices the pattern and decides that the lack of respect already says everything she needs to know. If a friend betrays her trust once, she does not stick around to see if it happens again. She understands that the first betrayal is enough proof of character. Her disappearance often shocks people because they expect forgiveness or negotiation. But in her mind, leaving without discussion is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. She believes that giving a second chance to disrespect is the same as teaching someone that it is acceptable to treat her that way. By cutting ties immediately, she sends a silent but powerful message. Respect is the entry ticket to her presence, and once it is revoked, the door is closed for good. This unwavering stance is not hardness, but wisdom. It protects her from cycles of mistreatment and preserves her dignity in a world where many settle for less than they deserve. Number 5. They believe time is too precious to waste. Time is the one thing you can never earn back once it is gone. And Sigma females understand this with crystal clarity. While many people get caught up in waiting for others to change, hoping situations will improve, or dragging themselves through commitments that drain them, Sigma females refuse to live that way. They carry a deep awareness that life is short, and that every hour spent in the wrong place is an hour that could have been used to build something meaningful. Think about how easy it is to lose time without realizing it. You stay in a relationship that has been stagnant for years because you keep telling yourself it will get better. You continue hanging around friends who never truly show up for you, hoping one day they will. You stay in a job that suffocates you because you are too afraid to walk away. These choices chip away at years of your life, one day at a time. A Sigma female sees through this trap. For her, wasted time is the greatest loss of all. That is why she does not hesitate to cut ties when a situation drains her more than it fills her. If she realizes a friendship constantly feels one-sided, she quietly distances herself. If a relationship leaves her feeling smaller instead of stronger, she steps away with no second thought. If a work environment keeps her stuck instead of helping her grow, she will find a new path rather than staying trapped. Her ability to walk away is not coldness but wisdom. She would rather endure the discomfort of leaving than the lifelong regret of staying where she does not belong. To her, every second is an investment, and she refuses to spend it on anything that robs her peace or her potential. This is what makes her so unstoppable. She knows that time is too precious to waste, and because of that, she guards it fiercely. Her choices may confuse others, but for her, protecting her time is the ultimate act of self-respect. Number 6. They see through fake apologies. Apologies are easy to say, but living out the change that should follow is the real challenge. A Sigma female knows this, and it is why she never gets fooled by empty words. She listens carefully, not just to what is being said, but to what happens afterward. If the behavior remains the same, she instantly recognizes the apology for what it really was, a way for the other person to ease their guilt rather than take responsibility. Many people hold on to apologies because they want to believe things will be different. They replay the words in their head, convincing themselves that promises equal transformation. But then, weeks or months later, the same wound is reopened. The same mistake is repeated. That is where a Sigma female draws the line. She refuses to live in that cycle. To her, change without action is just performance. For example, if a partner cheats and begs for forgiveness but continues to flirt and lie, she does not give endless chances. She sees the pattern for what it is and decides her peace is worth more than staying. If a friend constantly lets her down, apologizes every time, but never shows reliability, she does not fight about it. She quietly disappears because to her, the actions have already spoken the truth. This is why her silence feels so final. She does not waste time debating whether someone really meant their apology. She measures sincerity by transformation, not by words. And if transformation never arrives, then she knows the apology was nothing but a cover for guilt. Her choice to leave is not about bitterness. It is about clarity. She knows that fake apologies keep people trapped in relationships that will never grow. By stepping away, she frees herself from endless disappointment and opens space for real connections built on truth. For her, apologies without change are like smoke without fire. They look convincing at first glance, but they vanish the moment you try to hold them. Number 7. They outgrow environments quickly. Growth is natural for a Sigma female, and with growth comes change. She does not cling to places, people, or routines that no longer serve her. The moment an environment starts to limit her potential or make her feel smaller than she's meant to be, she senses it immediately. While others may choose to stay for comfort or familiarity, she begins to detach. Her disappearance is not about rejection, but about evolution. It is like quietly graduating from one level of life to another without waiting for applause. Think about how many people stay in circles that hold them back because they fear starting over. They remain in friendships that have long stopped being supportive or stay in jobs that drain them just because it feels safe. A Sigma female is wired differently. She does not confuse comfort with growth. The moment she feels that she has stopped learning, stopped being challenged, or stopped being valued, she knows it is time to move on. For example, if a workplace becomes toxic, she does not waste years complaining about it. She begins planning her exit because she knows her talents deserve more. If a relationship starts suffocating her dreams instead of fueling them, she does not argue for permission to grow. She leaves because she would rather step into uncertainty than let her potential wither away. Her quiet exits often confuse people. They assume she is being cold or selfish, when in truth she is simply honoring her growth. To her, disappearing is not about abandoning others, it is about refusing to abandon herself. This ability to outgrow environments quickly is what keeps her evolving while others remain stuck. She sees every exit as a graduation, a step toward a higher version of herself, and because of that, she never looks back with regret. She trusts that wherever she is heading next will be better aligned with the person she is becoming. Number 8. They know explanations invite more drama. A Sigma female understands the weight of explanations. She knows that the moment she tries to explain why she is leaving, she risks being pulled into circles of denial, manipulation, or desperate promises. Instead of closing the chapter, explanations often reopen it. Instead of finding peace, they create noise. That is why she chooses to leave quietly, without leaving behind a script for others to pick apart. Most people think explaining is the polite or fair thing to do. They feel the need to justify themselves so the other person can understand. But in reality, explanations rarely lead to understanding. They lead to debate. If she says she is leaving because of neglect, the other person may deny it or try to shift the blame. If she says she no longer feels respected, they may beg her to stay while promising to change. None of these conversations give her peace. They only drag out what she already knows must end. Think of someone trying to walk out of a burning building, but stopping every few steps to explain why they need to get out. By the time they are done explaining, the smoke has already surrounded them. A Sigma female refuses to get caught in that trap. She saves herself first, and explanations are left behind with the fire. For example, if a partner repeatedly fails to honor her boundaries, she will not write long speeches about why she cannot stay. She will step away silently, because her decision is already clear in her actions. If a friendship drains her, she will not prepare a list of reasons why it is over. She knows her peace is reason enough. Her silence does not come from cruelty, it comes from wisdom. She understands that explanations often invite drama rather than resolution. By leaving quietly, she removes the stage where others might perform guilt, denial, or false promises. In her world, the cleanest break is the quietest one. She values peace over performance, and that is why her silence carries more power than any explanation ever could. Number 9. They measure loyalty by presence, not promises. For a Sigma female, loyalty is not about flowery words or dramatic declarations. It is about presence. It is about showing up consistently, not when it is convenient, but when it matters. Anyone can promise loyalty, but only actions reveal whether that promise is real. A Sigma female pays close attention to who is there when she needs them and who vanishes the moment things get difficult. Think about how many times people say, "You can count on me," or "I will always be there." Yet when life tests those words, they suddenly become unavailable. They stop answering calls, they make excuses, or they disappear until the storm passes. A Sigma female does not chase after those people. She does not keep asking why they failed to show up. She sees the pattern and quietly stops waiting. For example, if a friend only appears when life is fun but disappears when support is needed, she does not argue about it. She simply adjusts her expectations and eventually distances herself. If a partner talks endlessly about commitment but avoids being there during hard times, she reads the truth in their absence. Promises without presence are worthless to her. This is why her standards often feel ruthless to others. But in her eyes, loyalty has no meaning without consistency. Words may sound good in the moment, but showing up requires effort, and effort cannot be faked for long. Her decision to stop waiting is not bitterness, it is clarity. She understands that investing in people who cannot show up is a waste of her time and her energy. By stepping away, she protects herself from disappointment and makes room for connections that are real. For a Sigma female, loyalty is simple: be present or be forgotten. And once she realizes someone cannot stand beside her, she does not beg, explain, or plead. She lets silence do the work, because absence has already revealed the truth. Number 10. They are allergic to half-love. Half-love is something a Sigma female will never settle for. To her, love is either whole or it is nothing at all. She does not accept being treated like an option, a backup plan, or someone's second choice. The moment she feels she is surviving on crumbs instead of being nourished with real care, she begins to detach, and once she recognizes the imbalance, she disappears without hesitation. Many people convince themselves to stay in relationships where love is uneven. They cling to the little attention they receive, telling themselves it is better than nothing. They accept mixed signals, broken promises, and inconsistent effort because they are afraid to lose what they already have. A Sigma female sees the danger in that. She knows that half-love slowly eats away at self-worth, and she refuses to sacrifice her peace for scraps. For example, if a partner only reaches out when it is convenient but goes missing when she needs support, she does not beg for consistency. She recognizes that as half-love and steps away. If someone claims to care but constantly prioritizes everyone else over her, she does not argue for a place in their life. She knows that true love does not require fighting for scraps of attention. Her disappearance may shock people because they often assume she will wait around, hoping things improve. But she never does. For her, love is about depth, loyalty, and presence. Anything less feels like a compromise of her value, and compromise of that kind is unacceptable. By walking away, she sends a silent message. She would rather be alone and at peace than half-loved and constantly questioning her worth. This choice is not coldness but strength. It shows she knows what she deserves and refuses to live on anything less than genuine, whole love. For a Sigma female, half-love is not love at all, and that is why the moment she senses it, she quietly closes the door and never looks back. Number 11. They see withdrawal as strength. Withdrawal is often mistaken for weakness, but for a Sigma female, it is one of the greatest signs of strength. In a world where people feel the need to confront everything loudly, prove their point, or win every argument, she understands that true power lies in restraint. Walking away quietly, without a scene, without an explanation, is not avoidance. It is self-mastery. It is the decision to protect her peace rather than entertain chaos. Think about how most conflicts play out. Two people argue, each trying to talk over the other, each determined to be right. Hours pass, voices rise, and nothing truly changes. At the end, both sides are drained, and the issue remains unresolved. A Sigma female refuses to waste herself like that. She knows that silence carries a weight words never can. Instead of shouting to prove her value, she withdraws and lets her absence speak louder than any argument. For example, if someone constantly disrespects her, she does not launch into endless debates to demand change. She steps back, because she understands that leaving sends a stronger message than shouting ever could. If a friend betrays her trust, she does not gather evidence and present it like a case in court. She simply detaches, because she knows no amount of words will rebuild what has already been broken. Her withdrawal is not about giving up. It is about choosing battles wisely. She knows her energy is precious, and spending it on people who will not listen or change is a waste. Walking away allows her to keep her dignity intact and her spirit unshaken. This quiet strength is what unsettles people most about her. They expect drama, confrontation, or explanations, but she gives none. Instead, she chooses silence, and that silence becomes the loudest statement of all. For her, withdrawal is not weakness, it is the purest form of power. Number 12. They believe in building, not fixing. Sigma females understand something many people struggle with. Not everything broken is meant to be fixed. They know that pouring endless energy into repairing relationships that are already cracked beyond repair is like trying to glue together shattered glass. You might make it hold for a while, but it will never be the same, and every touch risks another cut. For them, silence is not bitterness or cruelty, it is wisdom. It is the quiet recognition that time and energy are precious and should be invested where growth is possible, not where decay has already taken root. Think about it. How many times have you seen someone stay in a friendship or relationship that no longer serves them, just because they believe history is reason enough to hold on? They go back and forth, patching holes, forgiving the same mistakes, accepting the same excuses. In the end, they are drained, yet the bond still feels fragile. Sigma females choose a different path. Instead of endlessly fixing what clearly refuses to heal, they turn their focus to building something new, something healthier, something worthy of their effort. For example, if a partner repeatedly disrespects them and offers apologies without real change, they do not waste months or years hoping for a transformation that never comes. Instead, they cut ties and move on, knowing they can build a new life that doesn't revolve around chasing broken trust. If a friend constantly takes but never gives, they do not try to reshape that person's character. They let them go and open themselves to connections built on mutual respect. What makes this approach powerful is that it shifts their energy from repair to creation. They understand that love, loyalty, and respect should not require constant fixing if they are genuine. By choosing to build rather than fix, they protect their peace, their time, and their self-worth. Their silence in the face of broken bonds is not emptiness, it is direction. It says, "I know where my energy belongs, and it is not here." That clarity is what allows Sigma females to thrive, while others remain trapped in cycles of repair that never lead to real change. In final words, have you ever wondered why some women can leave without saying a word and never look back? It is not because they are heartless or cold. It is because they have learned the value of peace, and peace is too precious to be bargained with. Sigma females understand that their silence speaks louder than any explanation ever could. When they disappear, it is not about punishing others, it is about protecting themselves. Life has taught them that time is too short to waste in places where they are not valued. They know that loyalty is proven through presence, not promises. They can spot empty apologies, they can feel half love, and they can sense when an environment is shrinking their growth. Instead of staying stuck, they quietly rise to another level. Their absence is not a collapse but a graduation. Here is the part that many miss. Walking away without words takes more strength than staying to fight battles that lead nowhere. It takes self-respect to leave without begging to be understood. It takes wisdom to realize that not every bond is meant to be fixed. Most importantly, it takes wholeness to understand that they do not need anyone else to complete them. Their disappearance is not an ending. It is a beginning. It is a sign that they have chosen themselves over noise, drama, and half-hearted love. And that is where the lesson lies for all of us. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not explain yourself. Sometimes silence is the only closure you need. So if you are holding on to something that is draining you, learn from the Sigma female. You do not owe anyone endless explanations, second chances, or your peace of mind. Choose yourself. Choose growth. Choose freedom. Because the truth is, disappearing without a word is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of strength. Thank you for watching the Rare Gems, and God bless you.